All overlays in this episode have been sourced from Zunaid_Islam's YouTube channel. Thank you so much for reporting this case and the videos that you've shared.
Nusrat Jahan Rafi.
Nusrat Jahan Rafi.
Nusrat Jahan Rafi. Nusrat Jahan Rafi.
Nusrat Jahan Rafi.
নুসরাত জাহান রাফিকে
Nusrat Jahan Rafi.
Nusrat Jahan Rafi.
অনেক চেষ্টার পরেও বাঁচানো গেল না ফেনীর অগ্নিদগ্ধ মাদ্রাসা ছাত্রী নুসরাত জাহান রাফিকে।
Hi, all. Welcome to Her Silent Stories, a podcast where we tell stories of women whose voices were ignored, minimized, or silenced. My name is Shaharin.
My name is Dev.
Today, we take you along with us to a small town in southeastern Bangladesh where a hero for the ages breathed her first and last. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's go. Feni is a small, quiet, absolutely gorgeous town. Humid, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone and secrets don't stay buried for long. Narrow road lined with betel nut trees, rickshaws clinking past. A madrasa courtyard filled with the sound of students reciting verses, their voices rising and falling like waves. On April 6, 2019, though, that rhythm broke. Her name was Nusrat Jahan Rafi. 19 years old, a student, a daughter, a girl who did something many did not dare to do. She spoke up. Days before her death, Nusrat walked into a police station and reported her principal Sirajuddola for sexual harassment. No whispers, no silence. A clear, formal, direct complaint. A complaint that she clung onto until the very end. Are you familiar with the case?
No, not fully. I mean, I think I've heard a bit about it, but not in detail.
Move on to the day, which is April 6, 2019. It was exam day. The sun hung heavy over Feni, the kind of heat that makes everything feel slow, suspended. Nusrat was at Shonagazi Senior Fazil Madrasa. Familiar grounds, familiar faces, or so she thought. Then came the message. Her classmates, girls she knew, girls she trusted, told her someone wanted to see her on the rooftop. And there are many heartbreaking points in the case, but this part is the most heartbreaking, that it was her female classmates who lured her up to the roof. I feel like within male groups, I see this less though. I see a sense of brotherhood. I see a lot of, I'll take the bullet for you kind of a vibe. Whereas within female groups, jealousy actually kind of is no longer an emotion. Within female groups, jealousy will brew into actual actions like
That is true, unfortunately. Be how the brain of a female perhaps works and operates. Could be the hormones, maybe. Hard to say. It is true.
You cannot blame this on the hormones. Of the many things you could have said, it is not the hormones that makes women do things to each other. I would say, and I would argue, it is the patriarchy that makes women think there's only one fairy tale princess spot that they can fight for. Male validation that they've been kind of shown to get rewarded for if they receive it, or the one who receives most of it gets the most rewarded. That's what I would say, not hormones.
Okay, so what would you attribute it towards? So that where does it stem from?
Patriarchy.
If you keep that aside,
how can you keep patriarchy aside? It exists in everything.
but in circles, in female circles, okay?
It's inbuilt patriarchy. Why do you think women are so fast to blame each other, but they are so fast to kind of defend the men in their lives? If that does not stem from patriarchy, I do not know what does.
How do you... Okay, all right. I don't know how you can attribute patriarchy to be the default reason, but if that is how you would like to categorize it. Okay.
My question is, how can you not default patriarchy to be the reason?
Because I was asked to describe what could be the cause for female identifying individuals to act in this certain manner?
Yes. And
was the
you
question.
don't think social factors kind of dictate our behaviors? You don't think that has any impact on behaviors?
I mean, society and its build up and its surrounding environment differs from society to society, but there is a common pattern of behavior that we can observe. Doesn't matter in which geographical location someone is perhaps located. So, again, patriarchy is, in my opinion, some bit of a social construct that you can describe, but what perhaps could be the root cause that, okay, why do we see a similar pattern of behavior in multiple places, not just one, irrespective of the societal construction or social environment and how it sort of goes about? That is the reason why I set the background to it. Is not to undermine or demean, but that perhaps is how the psychosocial build-up perhaps has been ingrained in them as well. I mean, there are probably traces of patriarchy attributing towards it, triggering factor maybe.
For sure. Okay, sorry, moving on. Her classmates, girls she knew, girls she trusted, told her someone wanted to see her on the rooftop. Maybe Nusrat hesitated. Maybe something did not feel right. But maybe she also thought, these are my classmates. I'm safe. Imagine how many times you must have felt the exact same way. Being around your peers makes you a little bit safer. The rooftop was empty. Too empty. Then they surrounded her. Figures in burqas, faces as hidden as their voices were loud. They gave her a choice: withdraw the complaint against their principal or face the consequences. A 19-year-old girl, surrounded, outnumbered, and terrified. And still, Nusrat said no. No to silence, no to shame, no to protecting the man who had abused her, abused his position of authority. In that moment, Nusrat chose truth, knowing the cost might be everything, including her very own life. They tied her up, they poured kerosene over her body, and then this group set her on fire on the rooftop of the school that she attended. The plan was simple. They wanted to make it look like a suicide, erase her voice, the voice that didn't want to shut up, completely. But fate didn't allow her perpetrators to silence her. Not even with every effort these delegations of evil had put forth. With 80% burns covering her body, Nusrat gave a statement on video. The teacher touched me. I will fight this crime till my last breath. End quote. She named them, every single one she could remember, in pain, in shock, and in betrayal. And still, with clarity, still with courage that did not extinguish. On April 10th, 2019, 4 days after the attack, Nusrat died. But her story didn't. It spread across Bangladesh. Protests filled streets. Students, activists, ordinary people demanding justice. Here's the truth we cannot ignore. Nusrat did everything right, quote unquote. She reported, she spoke up, and the police, they dismissed her complaint as not that big a deal. A girl is told to ask for help, and then she asks for help, and the system shrugs. October 2019, a tribunal delivered its verdict. Do you know what a tribunal is?
So a tribunal is essentially ever a court case is conducted, then the verdict given by the panel of judges is known as the tribunal, from where the decision comes in, or the verdict comes forward.
16 people were sentenced to death. 16 people against one 19-year-old girl. This group included the principal who ordered the attack from prison, classmates who lured her, local political figures who were involved in the conspiracy. It was one of the fastest trials in Bangladesh's history. Justice is rarely that simple, though. Many of the convicted filed appeals with High Court. As of now, the case remains tied up in the legal process, a reminder that even when verdicts are delivered, closure of those verdicts can be delayed. Nusrat's death forced Bangladesh to confront a painful truth. Sexual harassment is widespread, and speaking up can come at a devastating cost. Her case exposed victim blaming, police negligence, abuse of power, and community complicity. Would you say all of these things are present irrespective of the community being Feni? Like this is widespread for cultures in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, the victim blaming, police negligence, abuse of power, community complicity.
I mean, it has to do with the background, the community surrounding as well. I think it is more common in rural parts. I'm unsure whether Feni or the place where this has happened was more of a rural.
It would be suburban.
But I think it is across the board and not only unique to certain spaces, especially in conservative societies. There is more of this victim blaming, and especially where education is lacking as well, perhaps.
I do not think Bangladesh as a country is a conservative society.
It is a pretty highly conservative society.
I don't think we're going to lose victim blaming. We're going to lose abuse of power and community complicity anytime soon because, it's the same way a mob comes together and beats the person to death without knowing what the person did. It's the same way online social communities can now come against one person or community of aunties. You know personally how I've been kind of at the receiving end of aunties saying so many different kinds of things that didn't exist. I think community complicity goes a long way, and understanding that you can be complicit even as part of a community that believes everything is right is a kind of awareness that everyone needs to have in their brains.
Yes. And it doesn't matter whether they have moved from a less socioeconomically progressive and prospering country, some of the habits and behavior still remains the same as they are from reference to rural parts.
Exactly. Sometimes you can take the person out of the place that brought them up, but you cannot take what was embedded within them. And I think my exact words to my ex-husband as I left him was, I think he was telling me that we can make this work. And I said, I cannot undo 30 years of patriarchy inside you. I know we can make this work. I know we can do so many things to kind of be a seemingly functioning couple, but I cannot unwind the person that you are from start to finish because you blame me for the harassment that your friend started. You will intrinsically blame me and think that it was the way I dressed, it was the way I talked, before even thinking was my friend in the wrong to be looking at my girl a wrong way, right? And this person has spent over 11 years in this country, but this is something that still came up. And that's what I say when I mean that our community complicity, the way that we always tend to favor the men, in this case, they were not able to do that because Nusrat followed all the steps. Until her dying breath, Nusrat had the same story. This principal did something bad to me. This principal abused me. This principal abused their power. And still, 2019 to now, how many years is it? 7 years still in with a tribunal verdict delivered, we see no consequences. We are still not seeing the consequences being delivered. And that's just sad.
Sure.
It's heartbreaking. On that, there were promises, public outrages, calls for reform, but the deeper question remains. Has it truly become safer to speak up? What do you think? Has it become safer to speak up?
Maybe in relative terms, maybe a bit, but still a long way to go.
Honestly think it's not even about being a man or a woman, because I cite the Buet student case where he had posted
Abrar.
a Facebook status, a Facebook status, and was for it by the mob horribly. I think it doesn't have to do with gender at this point. I think free speech is something that not a lot of parts of the world have. Even a place like London, a place like United Kingdom, you don't really have free speech there. You will have a very, very large portion of censorship there. Same with Bangladesh. There's a lot of censorship there. And I think it's almost an oxymoron where when something like this happens, when someone like abuses you, rapes you, does something bad to you, you are told immediately to go to the authorities. But then the authorities will shrug at you. And then you'll have this other group of mob forming to take action against you. It's whether it's online action, whether it's vilification of your character, whether it's just trying to whitewash the guy's image however they can. It's 2026 and it pains me to know that people of our age, people of our generation have now grown up. They are now working adults. They are now part of the labor system. And opinions like this still prevail.
It is, but it's still partiality.
Nusrat Jahan Rafi was not just a victim, she was a witness and a fighter. They tried to burn her voice out of existence, but what she said, what she stood for, still echoes across Feni, across international borders loud enough to reach us today, even after 7 years since that fateful day. I hope her story reminds you to pause before you ask a victim what she has done. Because in a country where being a woman is a liability, no matter what she does, will come back to haunt her, hurt her, and sometimes kill her.